Hello, we are live. Ephraim went to go shut the door, and apparently he got caught in the door because he is not back. So, welcome to the show. Today, we have quite the show for you. We are talking about baseball movies. There he is. Ephraim, we're live. We're live.
Excellent.
Hey,
Hey.
I was just telling our viewers that today we have quite the show for them. We are talking baseball movies.
I'm actually very excited about it.
Yes, me too. Like I put in an Instagram post earlier, I've been training my whole life for this. All I did growing up was pretend to play baseball, play actual baseball, and watch baseball movies.
There you go. Well, why don't you go ahead and start people off on why you love baseball so much? Give them the little history behind it, Gary.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about our history, our favorite baseball memories. And I've been kind of I didn't want to share too much, but I've been kind of thinking about what to share today. So, my favorite baseball memory, I grew up playing it. My dad played it. My dad played at UNC Wilmington baseball, where I grew up, which is the hat that I representing these days. And that's kind of all where it started. My dad telling me stories about playing in high school, playing in college, and growing up in Wilmington, we always went to UNCW games. And it all started going to games with him. And so my favorite memory was when I was I believe I was in 8th grade. I was playing rec ball. We had a game on Saturday, and the game ended. I think we lost, which was a bummer, but I had a really good game. I hit a double, like my last at bat. UNCW was playing that same day in the CAA championship, which is their conference championship, and it was being held in Wilmington at Brooks Field where they play. And the game was in like the sixth inning championship game after my game. And my dad was like, "You guys want to go watch?" Me and my brother, he's like, "You guys gonna want to go watch the last few innings of the championship game?" We're like, "Heck yeah!" So we drove to the ballpark and we sat and watched the game, and they won. And it was their first time ever winning the CAA conference championship. And
Nice.
we got to go on the field. And me and my brother are running around. We played on the same rec team that year. We're running around in our baseball uniforms, celebrating with the players, talking to the coaching staff. And it was just like the coolest day ever. And fun fact about that tournament, the first game of the tournament, they beat Justin Verlander.
Nice.
Yeah, they beat him in the opening game. It was his last year in college before he got drafted by the Tigers, and they beat him. And yeah, it was just such a great day. So they've won 6 conference championships since then. So 2004, Seahawks won their first conference championships, and then about 5 months later, the Boston Red Sox win their first World Series in 86 years.
Nice.
2004, that was my year.
That was your year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was, I was 4 years old and my parents put me in T-ball because, let's just put it out there. I'm Hispanic. We play baseball. All right. Like that's one of the couple sports that we do, So my dad put me in and I played it through high school. Just loved the game. But then of course, like you, when you're a kid, especially growing up in the 90s and you played baseball, either you went with your baseball team or you just went with some friend. Like you watched all the baseball movies that came out. And so that just always baseball movies just always have a special place in my heart because one, baseball, and two, they just bring back a lot of good memories. So I'm glad we get to talk about some of those and today.
I think baseball movies are great because baseball has so much drama built into the game already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
makes a good movie.
Yeah. It really does. And so I'm just excited for it. So I will say, Gary, since you are probably more of an authority on all things baseball, compared to me,
pressure.
man. Remember, I went the basketball route later on in life.
did. Yeah.
I did love basketball a lot more. My knowledge of baseball, especially nowadays, isn't very deep. Yes, I still love the Braves, but
Hey,
I'll catch them when I can.
They're doing well with the
They
limited
are.
season. I think I don't know how much more they're going to be able to play with all the stuff going on, but they look really good.
Yeah.
Acuna is my favorite player to watch these days.
There we go.
He's awesome.
So I'm gonna, I'll just kind of let you run things here, my man. And
Oh boy.
dude, man, you got more baseball in you. You got
All right.
so I think we should The honor should be yours to really run this
Oh,
thing.
well, thank you, sir. So we're gonna go right into it. Go to the first inning. First inning
Yeah,
baseball movie.
so just let everyone know we got 9 innings of baseball,
9 innings of
and
baseball.
so this isn't necessarily ranked, by the
No.
way. This is just our 9 favorite that we have that we decided.
Yeah.
So,
So what we thought we would do, we go through 9 innings of baseball movies, but
Yep,
at that
there it
7th
is.
inning, just to stay on theme, we're gonna do a 7th inning stretch of honorable mentions.
yes,
You know, so I'm excited. Let's get right into it. First inning. Let's go to what I believe is my personal favorite. Let's see.
yes,
There it is. The
There it
Sandlot. The Sandlot. If you did
Get
not
it,
grow
Gary.
up watching this movie, then your childhood was not as great. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This movie represents my childhood more than probably any movie put out there. We watched it, and I feel like I say this a lot because all we did was watch movies growing up. But people are going to be like, "Did he ever go outside?" Yes, I did. I went outside and pretended I was in this movie.
Yes.
We would watch this movie on a loop constantly. And me and my brother and the neighborhood friends would go, and I'm so and so, and I'm Benny. And, none of us were cool enough to be Benny, but I will say none of us
Facts.
were lame enough to be Smalls. Even though Smalls had some redemption there at the end,
Yeah.
But this movie is a classic. It's a classic childhood movie. It's a love letter to the game of baseball, a love letter to to playing in your
Just
neighborhood.
childhood.
Childhood, yeah.
Childhood
Yeah.
playing outside.
And my grandpa loves to watch this movie because this is, the era he grew up in, where it's set in. And I think we've all of us that grew up playing baseball in the neighborhood, we all know what it felt like to lose a baseball and to not have a ball. And, you couldn't just drive to the store and buy, a new baseball. You had to figure some things out. And if you've never seen this movie, check it out. If you've never seen it, what the heck? But, they hit a Babe Ruth signed baseball gets hit into the yard of a dog referred to as the Beast.
What a great name.
And and all through the movie setting up to that, they're telling stories about the Beast, and there's that scene in the clubhouse, the treehouse where forever, where they're telling the stories of it. They ate them bones and all,
Yeah.
And,
Do you want a s'more? S'more what? You're killing me,
what?
Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. But growing up, everyone said I looked like that kid.
Oh, no.
Everybody. When I was late elementary school, before I got tall, I was a little chubby kid and had freckles and curly hair, and I was called Ham Porter or the Big Green because he was in the Big Green also, and I was
Not the great Hambino? Come on.
no, I was called Ham or the Big Green. It's like, come on, at least give me his cool nickname.
I know, right?
But yeah, I don't know about you, but I watch this movie several times a year.
Yeah, I know. Growing up with this was obviously the baseball movie everyone had to watch. If you didn't watch it, on your baseball team as a kid, you were made fun of. It's like, how have you not seen? And of course, everyone gave you "You're killing me, Smalls," and if you hadn't seen it, you're like, "What are you talking about?" So you look
Killing
even
me,
more like an
Smalls.
idiot because you don't get it. So this one, it's just great because it did. Like I remember even as a kid, it was like, like, man, I hate having to climb a fence or figure something out. Or what if they have a dog and you do try to figure out like how are we gonna get it, or even the whole like I thought a lot of like how many times have we tried to find a stick to like stick through the fence to like get it closer to you so you can stick your hands through the fence and like slowly move it up to the top of the fence. There's the stuff you had to do to go get a baseball, and it's just funny how this movie's about a new kid making friends, learning a sport, and the camaraderie and the community of it all. But just even then, just how all together, what holds this movie together is they lost a baseball and everything you had to do to get it back. And it's like, that's
you mean to tell me you took a baseball signed by Babe Ruth and you actually played with it?
Yeah, who is she?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you mean that's the same guy? I'm sorry, I know everywhere.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And
You're
I
such
love
an
when
idiot.
they're playing the other team in the neighborhood,
Oh, yeah.
the prim and proper team,
with
what's
the
him
unis
say?
and
It's
all
like,
that.
he said, if I had a dog that was as ugly as you, I'd shave his butt and make him walk backwards. What's your sister doing out in center field? Is that your?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, the smack talk, everything about it.
Gonna be a quick game, and I gotta get home for lunch.
Yeah.
I've said that before, youth group before, like growing up to teach or whatever, like intro youth group. Like, all right, guys, it's gonna be a quick game, and I gotta get home for lunch. And sadly, kids have no idea what I'm talking about, which is
a shame.
Oh, it happens to me often. You've been, reference something like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, The Sandlot's great. Legends never die.
Legends Never Die. It's just such a great movie, and it's one that every baseball fan, most likely every baseball fan, has seen this movie. Mm-hmm. But if you haven't, why haven't you? Is the question. Yeah. Like this is like, to me, the must see baseball movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's definitely the one you got to have.
Oh yeah, and I get worried that because we watch it and we think back to moments from our childhood, and I get worried that kids these days they'll watch it and be like, why are they outside so much?
Oh no,
it's like man. But yeah, this movie's a classic and deserves to be talked to the movie, talked about and reviewed many times. So
very many times.
Yeah, but great movie.
So
second inning.
So moving on, second inning. Yeah. Yes, and some of you might be thinking, "Wow, that was a long inning." Welcome to baseball.
I know, right? So there you go.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Hey, there's no time limit on this game. You know what I mean? It's a game without a clock. As much as
that's right.
Much as Rob Manfred and all the other morons run a Major League. I'm sorry. I'm gonna move on.
Tangent.
I don't want to get
Reel
upset.
it in, man. Reel it in, man. Come on.
All right. Second inning.
Yes, here we go for the second inning.
Field of Dreams. Oh, look at that poster. I've never seen that poster before.
Yeah, I told you I found it. I was like, dude, that's cool. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie. Okay, so I got to keep it short talking about this movie because I will cry. I'll be honest.
Oh, man.
This movie.
Getting serious.
Oh, man. This movie is a beautiful movie. This movie is a love letter to baseball, love letter to fatherhood, love letter to farmers. Authors. Just, oh my gosh, this movie's great. So, okay, but I want to also say something. Have you ever tried explaining this movie to someone who's never heard of it or seen it? It is on paper. This is the most ridiculous movie. But you just have to watch it,
Yeah.
So a guy owns a farm in Iowa, and he gets a vision, and he has a voice. If you build it, he will come. And he's like, okay, I need to turn half my farm, half my corn into a baseball field. And Shoeless Joe Jackson, a guy that's been dead since the 30s, I think, is going to come back and be able to play baseball because he got kicked out of baseball in the 1919 Black Sox scandal for betting on the game. He's going to be able to come back and play baseball. So that's the premise of the movie. And then all of a sudden, baseball players come out of the cornfield. But it is a fantasy movie, but it is a wonderful movie. It's beautiful. That's all I can say about this movie.
I know that the last time I tried to explain this movie to someone, they thought I was talking about Signs. So I'm going to throw that out there. Oh, Gary. I had to do it.
I know.
I had to do it.
I know. Oh, man.
In all fairness to everyone out there.
I deserve that.
Listen, to all fairness and everyone out there, we were playing a game where I gave 3 one-word clues, and then you had to guess what movie it was. And then so his clues were
live on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, live on YouTube for youth group. And I said baseball, cornfields,
baseball, cornfield,
fields,
voices.
and voices. Yeah. And Gary's like, Signs, and I stare at him.
I know, so I was overthinking it. Efren and I both love the movie Signs, love it, and so I thought, because cornfield, crop circle, Joaquin Phoenix character is a former baseball player, and voices, the, from
you
Signs.
hear voices. Yeah,
it's like Signs, and he's just staring at me, he thinks I'm joking, and I'm like, he's like, no. And then I look up and I'm like, no, Field of Dreams, Field of Dreams. My dad was watching live and oh my gosh, he tore me a new one.
As he should. I looked at Gary and I was just like, he's got to be kidding. Like I'm talking about one of his favorite movies. He's got to be kidding.
Yeah. I'm wearing a shirt right now from this movie. Thanks to baseballism.
Yeah, exactly. And you were wearing a Field of Dreams shirt that night. That's the thing. Or was it that specific shirt you were wearing that you have on now?
No, it wasn't. I hadn't ordered this one yet.
Oh, okay. So it was a different one.
Yeah.
I think, but I was just But once I realized you weren't joking, it was just I was more in silence out of disappointment.
I know. But when I ordered this shirt off Baseballism, which is a great website, by the way. If you're a baseball fan, check out their website. I ordered this shirt and I put a picture on Instagram, and you commented, you're like, "Yeah, I love the movie Signs too." I was like, oh, dang it!
You'll never live it down.
No,
and I had to bring it up, but
I deserve it.
But bringing it back, because I know you've seen this movie a ton, but bringing it back,
Oh,
I mean, it is just you said, just another love letter to baseball, and it's like silly when you think about it, like what you just kind of said, but it's really great. This is honestly it's been years since I've seen it. I need to go back and watch it. But it's just such a great
kids.
No, I haven't actually.
Watching this movie as a father is like a whole nother perspective. Kind of like Finding Nemo as a father is like a whole
yeah. I'm going to have to. I'm going to dig into it.
I watch it every Father's Day. I try to at least.
Oh, okay.
But it's great. And this is the last. My dad claims this is the only movie to ever make him cry.
Oh.
This and Silence of the Lambs.
Well, that's a different kind of tears at that point.
Little inside joke with Dad there, but yeah, Field of Dreams is great, and it's about relationships, it's about baseball, and one of the most unrealistic parts of this movie, though, is not that the ghosts come back to play baseball or all this stuff happens. It's the fact that this farmer who has a family wants to tear down most of his crops and build a baseball field, but the most unrealistic part is the fact that his wife allows him to do it.
Yeah, for a bunch of because he's hearing voices.
He's hearing voices, yeah. It was like, oh man.
A realistic take would have been like, we're gonna put you in the psych ward. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
that's what's gonna happen.
Let's show me that sequel.
Yeah.
It's like he's staring at the baseball field as the wife and kids just drive off with all their stuff. He's like, but Sheila show. But yeah, it's a great movie. Wonderful baseball movie. Check it out if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
It can be a little cheesy at times, but sometimes.
And that's okay though.
Sometimes we need that.
Yeah, we're okay with that though.
Yeah.
So moving on to the third inning. Here's
inning.
one that I'm pretty sure probably everyone knows what this is. Mm-hmm. And sorry, hold on, I didn't get it set up right. But anyways, so here's our third inning, and it is A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own,
starring the man we've talked about multiple times, Tom Hanks.
Yes.
And then Gina Davis, also seen in Beetlejuice, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, and others, but that's just the one that always comes to mind for me with her. It's like it's A League of Their Own and Beetlejuice are the two that come to mind with her. And then and also Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell plays Doris.
Yeah.
And then John Lovitz has an awesome role in this movie. This movie right here is not only a great telling of what went on during World War II when a lot of baseball players were at war, including the great Ted Williams. They started a league of their own, if you will. Yep. The women, they picked up and played baseball, and this movie not only tells the great story of that, but this movie is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite one-liners come from this movie. Tom Hanks. This is one of his best roles. He is so funny in this movie. Mm-hmm. And Madonna, her and Rosie O'Donnell going back and forth, Yeah. But yeah. Oh, zip it, Doris!
Yeah.
But John Lovitz, if you remember, he's the scout that goes and sees. So Gina Davis is like one of the best women baseball players in the world. She gets recruited to go play in this league, and she only go if her sister comes. But John Lovitz is the scout that does it, and the stuff he is. They go to see this lady, and she's not, she's an amazing baseball player. She's like hitting baseballs, hitting home runs like crazy, but she's not very attractive. And like he sees her, he's like, oh, and he's like, let's go. And Gina Davis is like, what's wrong? What's wrong with her? She's great. He goes, General Omar Bradley. He goes, yeah. There's too much resemblance. And then how it works is the train moves, not the station. But it's a great movie. Love this movie.
Yeah, it's great. And this is one that I ended up. I mean, I watched it because I feel like it was always on TV growing up, and so I always watched it. And just come on. Even me and my dad would just be like, "Hey, let's watch this thing," and it'd be funny. And then my mom would love to watch it because my mom played softball and stuff in high school, so she appreciated all that as well. And so she would, she'd get on this, just watch it, and we just laugh. As a kid, I laughed at different things that as an adult I laugh, other things later.
Yeah.
And but even just that is that premise of just like they want to keep a sport going, so they like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, the ladies are the ones that are here, so let's just do it with the ladies, And then
Yep.
of course dealing with all the sexism and crap that they had to deal
Mm-hmm.
with at the time. So this movie actually has a lot more to say
Mm-hmm.
than just what it is at face value, but it is a lot of fun. And,
Oh yeah.
and I give that a lot in, like you said, like the Tom Hanks and I mean even Rosie O'Donnell and stuff.
Rose
Like,
Donald's good in it.
they did a good job keeping it light and fun, even though still
Mm-hmm.
like just trying to tell this story. And it was just another fun movie that I think people. I don't think people necessarily forget about it, but when people say,
Mm-hmm.
baseball movies, this one doesn't seem to come up very quickly. That's probably the
No,
best
it
way to put
doesn't.
it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't. But it is such a good movie. It's so rewatchable. I've probably seen it. I don't know how many times I've seen it. Me and my brother, we had it on VHS and we watched it over and over again. And we'll, I've said this before. We'll text like random quotes from Tom Hanks mainly.
Right.
I'll text him. I'll say, hey, by the way, I loved you in The Wizard of Oz. But yeah, it's such a great movie and it's a cool story.
Yeah.
That I don't think it's talked about enough about
Mm-hmm.
what went on during World War II.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but definitely deserves a little bit more praise than I think it gets. I think it is. I mean, it's just funny. It's like when people talk about it, it's not like, oh, this movie was okay. Like people actually love this movie, but like I said, for some reason, it still like feels a little underrated. Like people just don't talk about it as much as it should. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But I feel like there needs to be more.
there's a part in here where Tom Hanks, because he's not just funny in the movie, when he starts to like really get serious, because he's their manager. That's his role. If you've never seen it, but
Yeah.
he gives Gina Davis a speech because she wants to quit before the championship game, and she's like, and basically what he's saying is baseball being hard is what makes it great.
Yeah.
If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it, and I love that part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
got me feel a lot of frustrations in the batting cage and outfield at times.
Yeah. Bring the reality of baseball to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So,
League of Their Own, great movie.
yeah. Great movie. So now, going back into a little bit of, I mean, like I said, that one's fun, but a little bit even more fun, I guess.
I
would
hate
be-
fun.
I
I hate
Sorry.
Sorry, I had to. If I know where we're going next, I had to say that.
Yeah. No, listen, I completely understand. So here's our fourth inning, and oh no, where did it go? I did something wrong. Oh no, there we go. The computer didn't want to work with me. But here is our fourth inning right here.
Little Big League.
Little Big
Yeah.
League.
Scott, if you're watching, I had to throw this in there. This movie's, oh man, great movie.
This movie's so good. I mean, again, probably a little bit more like Field of Dreams, where you have like this premise is ridiculous, and like this would never happen. Like this is just dumb, but stupid. But sometimes stupid premises make great movies, and this is one of those. This is one of those movies. So it's essentially the premise is, and I forgot. Is it his grandfather? Right.
His grandfather owns the
Yeah,
Twins.
his grandfather owns the Twins, and leaves the Twins to him when he passes,
dies.
and then and so he takes over. The kid takes over, and after he, when he takes over, he decides to appoint himself as the manager of the Twins because he's tired of them losing. Which I'll talk more about that later. But go ahead, Gary. You can take it from there.
Oh yeah, he's a baseball wizard. It's not just like because it's like
Prodigy,
like
really.
reference. Yeah. It's like you read the premise. It's like you would think he'd be an annoying kid, but he knows what he's talking about. And he's brilliant when it comes to the game of baseball, and that's what makes this movie great. This is a very, very smart baseball movie. To the fundamentals, to the realistic. It actually uses real baseball players, including the great Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Randy Johnson, other players. I think Ivan Rodriguez is in it, Mickey Templeton.
Yeah.
But he's a baseball historian, baseball prodigy, baseball wizard, and that's what makes the movie great. That plus the supporting cast around him, once again, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
A lot of funny things in this movie. But it also deals with his friends are they deal with losing him to the team and they want to hang out with him, but he's always he's a baseball manager.
Yeah.
So it deals with childhood, it deals with growing up, and but hilarious movie too.
Yeah, great movie, and And what was funny to me, there's in high school, I had a friend of mine who played basketball with me. Who him and his family were Minnesotians. I guess that's how you say it. I have no idea. And so huge Twins fan. So of course, anytime baseball movies came up, he's like little big league, because he's obsessed with this movie because it's the Twins. And I always joked with him, and I'm like, yeah, because what was great is the Twins aren't relevant, and even in the movie, they're not relevant until the kid comes along. Like,
I know.
So they had to put him in a positive light somehow, and I'd always make fun of him about it. But I mean, it's almost like the kid's dream, to be able to like not just play in the majors, but like you get to be the coach and tell these guys what to do. And it's just having that kind of authority. Even that picture, if you look at that picture, I can remember that part right there, like with the umpires just like ripping into him.
You're a little squirt with a big mouth.
Yeah, and he's just giving it to him. And you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Give me more of that. Tell that umpire off.
I love when he's like walking back to the dugout and he turns around and goes, you ever heard of certs?
But just showing like his baseball, I like how he showed like his baseball knowledge. Like you said, he wasn't the stupid kid. His baseball knowledge and how he ends up gaining the respect of the players and the other coaches and stuff because he knows so much. Like I'll never forget the original, like when he first came out to talk to the manager who was going to become his assistant. He was just like questioning him. I know we talked about this before, Gary. And he's just like, and he gives him all his answers. And he's like, any more questions? He's like, yeah. What does he need me for? Like,
the pitching coach.
Yeah, the pitching coach. That's right. Yeah, and he was just because he gave him a hitting situation. And then he's just like, there's 2 outs. What do you think? The bottom of the ninth, you have 1 strike, and then he's like, well, who's on base? Who's up to bat? Who's after him? Who's after that?
He's in the bullpen for the Yankees. He's asking all these questions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's asking everything, and he's like, okay, this is what I'll tell him to do. And then they're like, no, you don't do that. This is what he's like, no, if you do that, then da-da-da, and he starts rolling off all of his reasons. And it's like, all right, so this isn't just like the stupid kid gets goofy. Like this is a kid who's actually smart. Like he's like we said, more of a prodigy. And just seeing that aspect.
They wanted the great Luke Collins, who was their best hitter, to bunt.
Yeah.
And he was like, you've taken the bat out of our 3, 4, 5. It's like,
yeah. So that whole thing was just great. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And then I liked how I appreciated this more as an adult, obviously, but how that scene alone and other times, it just shows like how intricate baseball is. And how much thinking is involved in baseball for every single situation. And I just thought that this movie did a good job of showing that, and they did it through a kid, which of course made kids excited. But taught kids, I mean, sure you probably feel the same way, taught us like you have to think a lot in baseball.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of, this is what I tell our good friend Dom when he tries to tell me that soccer is better than baseball, which
that's disgusting.
Whatever. I was like, baseball. One of the things that makes baseball great is there's all these games within the game,
Yeah.
And it's just so yeah. Big League, like a league of their own, it doesn't get enough credit for how not only good of a movie it is, but I think what happened is a lot of people see kid playing maybe a little bit of managing. That's not realistic, but check it out, especially if you're a baseball fan, especially if you're a '90s baseball fan. 'Cause you'll see all these players like, I remember him.
Yeah.
Plus, it's really funny.
It is really funny. And like you said, people just, another, because, we'll talk about another one here in a minute, but there was a stretch of a bunch of kid playing Major League Baseball or something, and people were just like, another one. So they didn't give it the credit it deserved, but it definitely gets a lot more credit than it gets.
One of the best scenes that we'll move on is when before their playoff game, they have a 1-game playoff, and he's got to finish this word problem about, and it's like, so-and-so painted a house, how many house, and then they're all looking at the whole team, and one guy goes, I don't understand. Why don't they just get a house that's already painted?
Yeah.
I should know this. My uncle's a painter.
Yeah.
A great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go. Look at that. Nice lids. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I knew he'd appreciate that. That's my dad.
So, hey, no shame.
So
that's right. We gotta wear the good stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So moving on to the fifth inning.
So moving on to the 5th inning, moving right along. And I love this movie. I absolutely love it. I can't tell you how many people I've like, have you seen Hardball? And they're like, what? Like, really? How have you not heard of Hardball? Come on. Keanu Reeves is in it. And
young Michael B. Jordan.
Which I didn't know till you told me.
Yeah.
So that was good. But, man, to talk about a movie with a lot of realism to the streets and just a lot of heart and just, I don't know, just a lot of great This movie just so great. Go ahead, Gary. I'll
Yeah.
let you start, but
I mean, that was a perfect intro for this movie. It's in the hood of Chicago, I believe,
yeah.
and Keanu Reeves gets thrown into to coaching this team. He has to do it because he is in deep with the loan sharks, the gambling. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah,
He's
loan
a
sharks.
gambler. He's a gambler, and he's in way too deep, and he starts managing. It's a classic story of, this guy who's down on his luck and is not really trusting anybody, and kids kind of bring out the heart in him.
Yeah,
But
and of course, and in like the fashion, like he didn't really he didn't really want to coach this team. He did it because he had no other choice. When he was there, he didn't take it seriously. And then because one of the kids walking home, and they all live in the projects of, again, like it's the bad part of Chicago. He gets beat up. And then that's when kind of opened Keanu Reeves' eyes because the kid asked him for a ride home because practice went late.
Yep.
And he's like, just get out of here because he didn't care. And then that opened up his eyes, and just seeing him pour into those kids and just working with their homework and teaching them how to be good kids, good men, really.
Yep.
And there's a lot of stuff that they go through, and it just really showed. Like, one thing I liked was how it showed what sports can do for kids. Give them the camaraderie, give them the fellowship. But you know what? There are, and this is why I like the realism of it, is there are a lot of places that if it wasn't for sports, like these kids have no other shot, or like they can't learn any life lessons.
Well, it even shows that there's one kid who's not allowed to play because he was too old or something. I don't remember. There's some type of
They smudged his birth certificate. His mom did it so he could play with his friends.
And then he's kicked off the team, and it shows him later he's in a gang or something.
Yeah,
It's just it's heartbreaking. But this movie has a ton of heart. Sometimes too much heart to where you get the waterworks going.
Yeah.
But it's
especially because of
is
that one
awesome in
thing
this movie.
that makes you cry.
Can't.
Yeah, no, we can't even talk about it. That's one. If you haven't seen Hardball, just watch it because we can't tell you everything. But
yeah,
Keanu Reeves
does
does great.
theater.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is great in this. Diane Lane's in this as well.
That's right.
As the kid's teacher in school, and then just even seeing Keanu Reeves, like his character, go from the just completely selfish gambling guy and turning his life around, and all because of the kids. And
he gives like a couple speeches in this movie, like when he's chewing out the other coaches, tell him he's got to take his headphones off because he's pitching too good, and and then when he finally wins and he gets, he's even, and then the other guy's like, he's like, I'm out, and then he's so like broke, he takes them all out for pizza and he tries to pay with hockey tickets, hockey, and
I love it because the guy who runs the place, I'm just gonna have to say it, but the guy who runs the place, he's black, and then he goes, really? Why am I gonna go? The only thing black at a hockey game is the puck. Like he's just,
yeah.
He's like, nope.
I always take the wife and kid to the National Negro Hockey Hall of Fame, and then he pulls out like Bulls tickets and stuff
and he's
that,
like, all right,
yeah. But he ends up, he takes him, instead of betting one night, he takes him to a Cubs White Sox game, and they see Sammy Sosa, and
that after the I'm out, and these have you ever been to a baseball game? No, ha ha, get in the car,
get in the car, Keanu Reeves, man, he's awesome, the dude can he can do it all, he can do a role like this, he can do, he can play a cop, he can do the Bill and Ted, whoa, but and then he can do this. But Hardball is a great movie.
Yeah, definitely check that one out if you haven't heard.
I need that in the collection. I don't have that in the collection.
I got that bad back there.
Oh, nice.
It's so good. Always worth going back and check. But also know, as I, especially with this, as I recommend it and say this is great, you need to watch it. It's about the real hood. So be prepared for some language coming out of the mouth of kids. And it's like I said, it's realistic. So
can we cool it with the B words, please? I remember that part. So we didn't say the B words.
Yeah. So moving on to our sixth inning. Oh, attaboy. To our sixth inning.
Sixth inning.
Yeah.
Might be time to warm up the bullpen.
Yeah. Here we go. So
Speaking of
rookie of the year.
Yeah. This is on the opposite side of Little Big League. I love this movie, but this is, this is pretty far fetched, but it's great. It's maybe a guilty pleasure. I don't know, but
Yeah.
So basically, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, you know what? No, but let's be real. As kids, we watch this and we're all like, how can I break my arm to make this happen? Like, we were all thinking that.
I'm pretty sure I can do this. I can be Henry Rowan Gardner, which is the greatest baseball name ever,
Yeah.
But basically, if Rookie of the Year, a kid who's a Cubs fan in Chicago, plays baseball. He's not very good. He never gets to start, and he breaks his arm, and then he can throw the baseball like 105 miles an hour. And next thing you know, the Cubs sign him.
Yeah. And I just love, like, when they take off the cast, and he's like, all right, just rotate it slightly. Whack! He just breaks the doctor's nose.
Do you remember what the doctor says?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's appropriate to say on here. But
he gets he's not very happy about it, and then like, and then I just love the ridiculousness of they're out in center field, like in the stands in center field, and he throws it right to the catcher, and he's like, tag out, like it just
I know, right? Safe. He's like, they run out. You trying to show me up, Henry? No, sir, my arm. And then of course the owners see it and like, bring me that arm. It's oh man, this movie is so funny.
Yeah, but, and it is like you have to know this is a comedy. They're not taking any of this junk seriously. What's his name? Oh, go ahead.
Gary Busey.
Yeah, Gary Busey. Yeah.
Before he lost his mind.
Yeah.
And Daniel Stern is the pitching coach, which he is he is training young Henry on how to be a major leaguer, but he is insane. And he tells him, he's like, hot ice. We heat up the ice cubes.
Yeah.
But, and his friends are behind the scenes, kind of behind, the same as Little Big League. They get jealous and they get into a fight, and but they're also hilarious.
Yeah.
And then the manager can't pronounce his name, which is a running gag throughout the movie. But Rookie of the Year, a hilarious movie.
Yeah. And what I do like, I just not noticed this. These two kid movies, Little Big League and Rookie of the Year, both decided to choose a team that had no hope of winning anything at the time. And for the longest time, let's be real. So they're like, let's get these guys their due.
Especially the Cubs, because like at least with the Twins, I think that movie came out in '94, and their World Series was in '90. They won in '91.
So at least it was close enough. You're
but
right.
The Cubs was, not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
But this is another movie. It's like watching it as an adult is still it's an absolutely insane premise, but it still makes me laugh.
Yeah. It is completely insane, but I love it. Like it's it's just a classic, even though it's dumb. Really like is. You love it.
Yeah. Pitcher's got a big butt.
Yeah. And then when he loses, he's like, I lost it, and they try to do all this other stuff, and like the hidden ball tricks and. Float. Yeah, that was like, okay, really? Like he would have really crushed that. Like there's no way he's missing that.
I know. Yeah. Oh, another thing. The late great John Candy plays the announcer.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's like, for the whole. This is great.
Rowan Bagner. And then just they always mess up his name and
Yeah,
I forgot about John Candy being in that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, John Candy. National treasure.
Great. Yep.
Gone too
John
soon.
Candy. Yep. I wish him and Chris Farley were still around, but
yeah.
Now I'm sad.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So we're back.
Seventh inning.
Yeah. So moving on to the seventh inning. Here's our seventh. For those just now joining, this isn't. We're not necessarily ranking, and we're just going through some of our favorites. But but as we get ready for the seventh inning now, before our seventh inning stretch, which we will get to that in a second.
Which I would probably need to legit stretch for that.
Honestly. Yeah. So here's for our seventh inning. This is the movie 42. 42. It is. I forget the technical term for this, but that's all right. The biographical, whatever.
The true story of an American
true story.
legend.
There we go.
Jackie
Much
Robinson.
better.
Yeah.
Just read the poster.
On the poster.
Yeah, no, just read the poster, Efren. Jack Nabbit. No, but there you go. The true story of Jackie Robinson. So I actually have not. I wanted to see this. I didn't get a chance to see it, so I'm just going to have to defer to Gary. And you go ahead, my man.
Yeah. So baseball has such a rich history and is another reason why baseball movies are so great. It's because there's so many stories to tell. There's movies like 61, the Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle story of that season. There's stuff about Babe Ruth, but the sad part, like a lot of American history, there's some, some really disturbing things with our history and how people were treated. And this is the story of segregation in baseball and story of Jackie Robinson. And sorry, I said it. I like burp when I said his name. It sounded like Jackie Robertson. Story of Jackie Robinson, the first black player in Major League Baseball who broke the color barrier and was an absolute superstar at the same time. So this movie is basically telling that story, and it's done really, really well. Chadwick, I think it's a Boseman,
Boseman, I guess, yeah.
The Black Panther himself plays Jackie Robinson and does really well. Harrison Ford plays, what's his name? Plays the owner of the Dodgers. I can't remember his name. Branch Rickey, something like that. Who is pretty honest telling of the story. He wanted to bring in a black player to the Dodgers, and he's honest about it. He's like, one, these guys are really talented. They play the game really well. And he said, but the only color I care about is money. People are going to pay to come see these guys play. And so he chooses Jackie Robinson and is pretty honest with, some of the scenes with him and Jackie Robinson get pretty intense because he's like, I want to make sure you can handle this because these are what some of the people are going to be telling you when you're hitting. He says, what you're going to hear at the hotels. You're probably not going to be able to stand it. How are you going to handle it? He says, because, I want you to stand up for what you believe in, but you fly off the handle one more time, you're going to be the black guy that came into Major League Baseball and couldn't handle it. He's like, can you handle it? And those scenes get pretty intense because you're watching it. You're like, it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. But this movie it's done really well. The acting, the cast is spectacular. Harrison Ford is, as always, great as Branch Rickey. And
great when he cares. Let's put it that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
When Harrison Ford cares, he's great.
Yeah.
When he doesn't care, it's like, really?
I'll just say this. He got a haircut for this movie.
Oh, there you
Unlike
go.
he did for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, which Efren, I have it on my Movies Anywhere that I just discovered yesterday that I have, so check it out. I'll give you my login. But it's a great biopic.
Yeah, biopic. That's what I was thinking.
There
of.
it is. Oh,
there it is. That's what I was trying to think of.
And one thing also, so you think about it, what Jackie Robinson went through. He was going to be not only the first player. People were not happy about this. But you're playing a game to where the pitcher, if he's not happy about it, he can either not give you anything to hit to where you can't showcase your skills and just get walked all the time, or he can throw a 90-some-mile-an-hour baseball at your head. You know? So it deals with that. But, yeah, check it out. 42. Really, really well done movie.
Yes, really well done. So from what I hear, like I just heard great stuff about it. It's a shame that I haven't seen it yet. So now we're into our seventh inning stretch. Gary, I know we got some comments on here.
I will be singing a rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So just kidding. No, I will not. Be
no, I would totally let it ride and watch our viewership just go down. But hey,
no, I don't want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but then we got a friend of mine, Mark Gata, says 8 men out.
Yeah. I recommend watching that and then Field of Dreams right afterward. Great double feature.
There we go. Yeah. So so we have that one on there. Bobby Davis saying what's up. How's it going?
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for joining us. And he also has a question for us. What's the greatest posters of all time?
That'd be a whole episode there,
I know that is a whole episode. But when I think of all time though, I think of I guess I go to iconic, and some of the iconics I automatically go to would be the original Star Wars, Jaws, Gone with the Wind. Honestly, that poster is pretty iconic.
Pretty iconic poster.
So maybe that's just an episode we should do, is just posters and just
the 1999
talk about
Batman
that
poster with just the logo on it. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that one's pretty sick. Jurassic Park. Just a simple. So I did like some of that.
Great.
So that could be a whole one. But I guess those are some right off the bat that I can think of that I'm like, I just got to think of when people think movie posters or something, I think those usually come to mind.
Yeah.
There you go. Book TV says Chris Farley and John Candy preach. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Great. Gone too soon. Great guys. Daniel says, what's up?
What up, Daniel?
Thanks for joining us, my man. Glad to have you here. And then Book on here, he says Harrison Ford was great in 42 as well.
He really was. That scene in his office when he first is trying to get him to come play is intense. Oh, man.
Yeah. So yeah, so books there with you, and yeah. So book actually puts in there Back to the Future poster. So
Oh
that's pretty
yes,
iconic. That's right
yeah.
up there.
I need that for the office.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hmm.
So and Bobby says he thinks 42 is one of the greatest sports. But
Oh, that's a great.
I would have to agree.
That's a
It
great
is.
poster.
It is
Yeah,
a fantastic poster.
does Jackie Robinson really well. Because that was one of them. He stole home. On the Yankees. I think that was the when that happened. But yeah. So he could run.
Yeah,
It's a great poster.
yeah. But it is. It is such a great poster, and
Hmm.
I mean, I'm kind of looking at it right now. Like it's still. It is. It's such a good.
Hmm.
It really is like probably one of the best sports posters because usually you get like we've seen the whole team and then
Hmm.
maybe the person who's highlighted and stuff. That one is just like they're like, how can
Yeah.
we make this look awesome? I mean, like you see
Pretty
the
cool.
strength in him sliding. You know what? Hold
Hmm.
on. Let's just go ahead and put this back up here.
Yeah,
So
let's
we
put
might
it
as well
back up
just
there.
talk.
Yeah.
Might as well just since we're talking about it, but like, we'll just look at here. We're just
Yeah, it's pretty
so we
iconic
just,
right there.
It is. I mean, him
Pretty
sliding like with the fist of like that fist there.
Mm-hmm.
That's showing his strength and his like athleticism and speed and I don't know. It is. It's just awesome. And then with the dirt sliding, like it just looks really really cool.
Yeah. Jackie Robinson, and that's the thing. Not only the first one, but he was a great player, worthy Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And that 42 retired by every team is for, many many reasons,
Mm-hmm.
not just, yes, because he was the first black player, but also he was a great player.
Yes. And Book TV puts out there too Space Jam TV best sports movie poster. So yeah, pulling
There we go.
the Toon Stars. There we go.
Yeah.
So definitely a very fun poster.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Yeah.
I would definitely say that thing was awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I know for our 17th straight, we also had some honorable mentions
Yeah.
that
for
we
your
were going to
honorable
bring up.
mentions, Let's see. The rookie, Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
About the school teacher who, made a comeback and true story, pitched for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. The scout, which I don't hear
Yeah.
this one talked about a lot, Brandon Frazier.
Your boy, Encino Man.
Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty great movie. Except
It
for he
is.
plays for the Yankees. I had a hard time.
Yeah,
with that.
that's the worst part about it. But
Yeah. For Love of the Game, Kevin Costner, baseball movie. He's a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Is deals with his last game as a pitcher, pitching against the Yankees, and throughout the game, he's thinking back to his time with a lady played by the the late great Kelly Preston, who passed away a few weeks ago. Great movie. It's a love story for baseball and his relationship with her, but really good movie. And the other one I had was Benchwarmers.
yes.
Hilarious
Yeah.
movie. I
That
Am
movie's
12.
just funny. Yes.
Yeah.
I am 12.
12. I am
As he's
12.
smoking a cigar and was it like a bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
yeah. Another movie that's ridiculous, but it's just a fun
Oh yeah.
baseball movie. No,
Yes.
I
Great
did
movie.
like Benchwarmers. I remember the Rookie. I remember the first time I watched the Rookie, I didn't care for it, but as I watched it again and again when I got older, I appreciated it a lot more.
Yeah.
Same with the Scout. And
Yeah. The Rookie's a good movie. It's just I told you this, the people, like the background characters, like the old men in the community, they annoy me so much in that movie. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I don't know. I guess I just need to stop getting so annoyed. I don't know.
yeah, and then another one we had talked about too was The Natural.
Yeah.
And, that's
Yeah,
another-
Robert Redford.
Yeah, another classic one
Yeah.
there for baseball movies. So, yeah, see, Bobby Davis, he says his favorite is The Sandlot, which,
Right
we
on,
did
Bobby.
talk about at
Same.
the top of
Same.
our show. It is. Sandlot is just such a great all-around movie for any time.
Iconic.
It is. It's just iconic. You can always say that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and here we go. Got a little question, little trivia for us. Who was the last MLB player to wear 42?
Mariano Rivera.
Yep. The Sandman himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mariano Rivera
Man
was the last
who-
one who was actually really allowed because after he had it, then they say no one else, right? They
Yeah.
made the
so
point
he
to
had
say,
it was they made the decision to retire it, but the deal was if you were currently wearing it, you could keep it
Right,
until
okay.
you change teams or whatever. And he just Mariano Rivera sadly never changed teams.
yeah,
As
very
much as I wanted
sadly.
him to. I wanted him to go far, far away from the American League East, but yeah,
Yeah.
he wore 42. He was the last one.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a great
So, yeah.
player.
Yes, another great. See, that's good. Like this, that Jackie Robinson had it, made the number iconic, everything. Great
Mm-hmm.
player. Ends with a great player like Riviera. Well done, number 42. Like,
42,
like very, very iconic on that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So moving on to our last two innings of baseball movies to talk about here. And these last two, you know what? These last two might be a little controversial. Maybe people might
Maybe.
wonder, why did you put these in the list? But you know what? We don't care. We're putting them
It's
in
our
the list.
show.
That's right. It's our show. We like it. We're putting these in the
Yeah.
list.
I have a
So
microphone and you don't.
there we go.
Moneyball.
So there's the eighth inning. Moneyball. Give it to him, Gary.
Hey, this is a great baseball movie, and I'm Efren knows this about me. Not many people know this about me. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. I think he is a great actor, and this movie continues to prove that. He plays this role incredibly well, and it's the story of the 2002 Oakland A's and how they kind of changed building their team. Instead of building around the 3-run home run hitters, the expensive players. Let's look at who gets on base, and because you got to score runs, and this changed the game quite a bit. This whole mindset, and if you've never seen Moneyball, the premise sounds kind of boring, but the way it is directed, the way it's put together, the way it's acted by Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, there's tension in this movie, there's drama, and it's a great movie. A few issues I have with it, I wish they would have talked about their pitching staff a little bit more. They had 3 incredible pitchers, Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, Mark Mulder on that team. But like you said a few weeks ago, we were talking about, that's not the story they were trying to tell. But Moneyball, great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I remember I went and saw this in theaters as well, and I just I wanted to go in just because basically it was a baseball movie from a different perspective. So I was like, hey, this is great. I want to see this. And I had heard, I didn't know too much about the actual story. Like I heard about it. And so that's another reason why I was like, I really want to go check this out. And then when I saw it, like I loved it. Like I loved the approach. Like I loved when Brad Pitt comes into the meeting room. I forget which team it was. Who was it that when he got Jonah Hill? I forgot.
Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, the Indians. There we go. And
like,
he go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, how much for him? Like he's like, and he ends up because he saw how Jonah was like, doing all the math to see if this would work out, and obviously something was being done there, and so like it's so seeing that aspect of it and seeing them try out a different way of doing things. Just trying to play the numbers, trying to play the ratios, percentages, and, with what you can get best out of your money and talent and moving people. And like even the decision to move people's positions based on situations or things like that. I just thought all that was a really cool, like in-depth look at it. And then, like you said, everyone in this movie did great. I mean, like even good old David Justice, even though he, he wasn't the greatest actor, but he did good, for the parts that he had. And you did kind of feel his pain, but I guess for him, he didn't have to act. Like it was, that was real life for him. So he just redid it, So I did like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's very well done. Billy Beane is, who is the general manager that, Brad Pitt plays in the movie. He's still with the Oakland A's, still there. At the end, he did so well that he gets the biggest contract offer by the Boston Red Sox, my beloved Boston Red Sox. But he stayed with Oakland, and he's still, still doing things there. And it's very respectable, how they go about things, A lot of people think that Guardians of the Galaxy is the movie that Chris Pratt lost weight for. It wasn't originally that. It was this movie. Just a fun fact.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah. Great baseball movie. If you've never seen this and you love baseball, check it out. So.
Yeah, please do. It's great. And it's like if you want a different kind of sport movie, that would be the one to do. And here you go, Gary. Bobby puts up, we want you at first base. It's not that hard.
It's incredibly hard. Yeah, it really is. First base stressed me out more than any position. I'd rather catch. And, oh, man, first base was stressful.
Yeah. So here we go into the ninth inning. Our last one, again, probably controversial.
This is what's going to surprise people, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But we are who we are, and we don't care. So here's number 3, Mr. 3000.
The late, great Bernie Mac.
Oh, yeah. This was one that, it said he's Mr. 3000. He's looking for 3,000 hits. He's at 2,000. I forget at the time, 2,900, whatever. He needed so many. So he's trying to get into the 3,000 hit club. And and as you see there, he's putting the I back in team. So go ahead, Gary.
He retires after he gets his 3,000th hit. He retires just out of nowhere. like in the middle of the season, I think. It's been a while since I've seen this. And
Right.
so he opens a sports bar called Mr. 3000 and blah, blah. Well, then they find out years later that there was an error, somehow mistake in the
That's
numbers,
right.
and he actually has 2,997 or
Yeah,
actually
something
even less than that.
It was
So,
less than that.
yeah, so he's like, well, I'm Mr. 3000. I got to get my hits. So he trains to come back and join the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
And this is a really fun movie. But the reason I wanted this in there, and I told Efren this the other day, this movie really does a great job explaining how difficult it is to hit a baseball, but mainly how difficult it is to hit a baseball at the major league level. Because he's one of the best hitters in the game. He comes back and he doesn't have it anymore. He's got to learn how to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Because it's such a difficult thing. But Mr. 3000,
Yeah.
fun movie.
Because even if you make contact with the ball, it doesn't mean you're getting a hit. Like
Yep.
and
You
that
gotta
like
hit it where
so
they ain't.
yeah. So getting it in the scorebook a hit is a very difficult thing. And then like and of course it did like because at this time like this was the height of Bernie Mac and he did mainly comedies and this one was a comedy but he took a much more serious approach on things and like with that tagline he's putting the I back in team. He was a very, very selfish man. He was all about himself. He was all about his stats, and he didn't care if the team won or lost. It was all about his stats, and so you get to see his growth through that, and him being humbled at times, and
He can't
even
do push-ups when he comes back. I remember
yeah,
that.
he can't do push-ups, like working out. So like just everything he has to go through, and again, and just even that, like not only how hard it is for baseball, but just in general, like what it's like even to age when you're an athlete. And then you try to go back to it, and your body's not the same as you age, and you have to make adjustments. I mean, it just has a lot to say about athletes, about the sports, and aging as well. Like coming to terms with the fact that you're getting older, and stuff like that. So it did have a lot more to say than what people think.
Yeah, it's got that to say, and also he takes a lot of these young players under his wing, including the superstar player the Brewers have. He's like, look, don't make the same mistakes I did.
Yeah.
There's a great scene. He comes back for like a fan appreciation day, like they're retiring his number or something, and they can't find any of his old players to come talk at it because nobody liked him. Like the guy that comes out, like one of his former teammates, he didn't even remember playing with him. It was like some random relief pitcher they traded for in the middle of the season. He's like, don't be like me. But there's a lot of really funny moments when he's trying to hit and he just can't. you know? There's some Sports Center clips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it definitely has a comedy aspect and things like that in it. But it's and I think that's why this movie doesn't get the appreciation it deserves, because I think it's a classic. They wanted something. They wanted this to be a complete Bernie Mac classic comedy. And it wasn't that. Bernie Mac decided to do something different with it because he wanted to be he wanted to take it a little bit more serious. He wanted to show his acting chops. And so I don't think people like really responded well to that. And they're just like, this isn't what I wanted. And, but it's just, I mean, actors do this all the time. They do different things to stretch themselves. And even though this wasn't a big stretch, it was still a little bit for him to just try something different. And it was great. And, I never knock the man, Bernie Mac.
No.
Loved his stuff. Bernie Mac show will still
Bernie
be forever, forever in my mind. I love that show.
Yeah. It's that's a hilarious show.
Yeah.
And it's pretty accurate to what happened in real life. He really ended up raising, I think, I think it was his sister's kids, I think. I remember that.
Yeah, it was pretty much like his real life. But he just made it obviously more for the show. But yeah, it was based on what really happened to him.
Yeah.
So those are our 9 innings of baseball. Those are the 9 that we're like, listen, if you haven't seen, these are the movies for you to check out.
Yeah. And many of these I'm going to go rewatch probably at some point this week, because it's been too long since I've seen these. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen quite a few of these. I need to go back and watch them again. Appreciate baseball, especially as baseball gets canceled again. I'm going to go back and watch these movies. So,
and it's good to have baseball back, but it's been so weird watching it this year. And I'm not just saying that because the Red Sox are complete trash, but it's just it's been it's been a weird year anyway for everything. So why should baseball be any different? So
yeah, exactly. Nothing should be any different. So those are 9 innings. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Just hit that little button. No big, no, quick. Just hit that little button. Share with your friends. Turn on your bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Ding. Next week we'll have a special guest with us. And
it's gonna be fun.
if you subscribe and turn on your bell, you'll see when we post what that's going to happen. But it's going to be fun. Another fun topic to talk about with a special guest and an actual professional in the entertainment industry.
Professional on this show. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
About time we got a professional.
I know, right? Other than just us talking nonsense and what we think. So that'll be on there. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and check out these movies.
Yep.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.